I wrote a little note, and on it I put, please call 911 because I think we have food poisoning. So my neighbor opened the door, and she took the note, and later on she told me that she wasn't going to let me in because she didn't know who I was. I looked so bad, you know. Finally she took the note, took me inside, and she called 911. And I mean, not too long after that, she walked me over back to the house, and we waited for the ambulance and the fire department. And the only thing that I could think of was that that I had poisoned my family, because I really thought it was food poisoning. I'm thinking, you know, that that I was probably going to get arrested because of, you know, poisoning my family. I mean, all this guilt, it was awful. So they come, and I signal to them that John is downstairs in the basement, and he at this, you know, during this time he was sitting on the toilet for almost 24 hours. So they go down there and take care of him, and the other paramedics go to my son's bedroom, my older son, who was 12 at the time. And anyway, they take John and put him on the stretcher and take him out, bring him upstairs. And to me, it just seemed like they had a sheet pulled over him, and I thought he was dead. And then they brought my son Adam out on a stretcher also, and he was having seizures, and, you know, they took John and put him in an ambulance, and Adam in another, and Spencer and I, my little boy, went in one ambulance together. Shortly after that, my mother-in-law said, she wrote on the notepad, you guys have been poisoned with carbon monoxide. And talk about a relief, even though it was, you know, it's a bad, bad thing, but I didn't know much about carbon monoxide poisoning, but at least I didn't poison them, you know. My older son, Adam, every night he would go to sleep with his window cracked open, you know, and I would always tell him, don't leave it open, you're going to get a cold, you're going to get sick. So this particular night, I checked on him when he went to bed, and he had his window open, and I closed it. Now I wish I would have left it open, you know, but it's difficult when you don't know about it. I would take Spencer to go see his dad, and he was horrified, you know, at seeing him in the hyperbaric chamber the way he was, and it's like, it's almost like he was dying.
I was in for, the first time I was in for 45 days. Then I was released out, and the nerve pain due to the nerve damage was so intense, I had to be readmitted back in. Carbon monoxide attacks the blood vessels that are closest to the surface. It's a miracle that we're not all blind because of the blood vessels in the eyes that are so close to the surface.
I remember a sheet, you know, just a very fine sheet, couldn't even touch him. You know, he would cry and that because of the pain. And he had several doctors, specialists come and check him out, and they all tried a lot of different things, and it seemed like nothing helped.
While in the hospital, I virtually lived in a hyperbaric chamber for about 8 hours a day for well over 30 days. And because of the renal failure, they just sewed tubes into my chest, and they performed dialysis 5 hours a day for a little over 30 days until my kidneys did finally regain function again.
And John, even though he was in the hospital, he was the worst one of us, you know, he's the one that kept me going because he was so encouraging. And
I didn't have any real mental faculties about myself. My wife was left to handle all of our affairs, and that was very difficult because she wasn't in a proper mental state herself. You know, speaking with the numerous different doctors that we had throughout the time of the poisoning and the hospitalization, they've told us that normally people just die, that no one withstands the levels of poisoning normally that we did. And I myself, I was more than 8 times the lethal limit in my system.